Hello, everyone. So it's another day, another time to bring you an exciting lesson on the Speak English with Eric. My name is Eric, and I'm always glad to bring you comprehensive English lessons on this channel. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, I would like you to subscribe and put us on post notifications so that anytime we upload a lesson, you'll be notified. So today we want to look at punctuation or punctuation marks. Um, so when we are talking or when we are speaking, there are pauses within the words or the sentences we use. Sometimes we also indicate pitch. And so when you're writing, punctuation are the signs and symbols that you use to indicate these pauses, these pitches to clarify meaning, to make a sentence clear, to separate parts of a sentence, and also to indicate the end of a sentence or to separate a sentence from another sentence. So there are several punctuation marks that are in the English language. There are some of them which are very common that we use every now and then. There are also others that are not too common. They are just signs and symbols that are used for other purposes other than the everyday English usage. So today our goal is to go through some of the marks or signs or symbols or punctuation that are common in the English language, and that you can also find on your keyboard or in other languages as well. So I know there are some of them that need not mention. We don't have to uh, take so much time to talk about most of the common ones because we know them, we use them, we know their uses. For example, what's the name of this sign or this punctuation? Yes, full stop or period in American English. What about this? Okay, that's also a comma. There are about 20 uses of comma in the English language. Are you surprised? Yeah, there are so many uses of the comma, and it's one of the most abused and misused punctuation in the English language. So we would have a separate video that we just focus on the use of comma. Okay, what about this sign? Apostrophe. Okay, yeah, that's also the apostrophe sign used to show possession. What about this? Exclamation mark. That is also used to show exclamation or showing a burst of emotion. It could be happiness, command, sadness, all those kind of exclamation. What about this? Okay, a colon. And then this, semicolon. Okay, so these are common punctuation marks that we don't have to take a whole lot of time to talk about because they are common. We use them frequently. But what about the name of the sign? You don't know? What about this? Okay, you don't know this also. What about this? Yeah, the question mark and then the exclamation mark put together. Okay, one last one. What about this? Okay, so these are all signs and symbols that have names and uses. And so in this video, we want to go through some of these signs that we often may see around but may not know the name or even the use. Today, the goal is to highlight the names of these signs. So we may not delve deeper into the uses of these signs. So don't go anywhere. Let's start. So there are many types of brackets in a language or as part of punctuation marks or signs. So the first one that we want to look at is round brackets. So round brackets. The second one is square brackets. So if you look on your keyboard, you find there is a type of bracket that looks like this. So it's called square bracket. Then there is a third one which looks like braces. So it's also called braces or curly brackets. Braces or curly brackets. Now, the fourth bracket or type of bracket is called the angle bracket. So it also looks like this put together. So angle bracket. So this sign alone is the less than sign. This is greater than sign. When we put them together like this, it's called the angle brackets. So those are the types of brackets that we have. We have the round bracket, some call it parenthesis. Then we have the square brackets. Then we have the braces or the curly brackets, and then the angle brackets. So those are types of brackets that we have. The next set of signs or punctuation that we want to look at are the hyphen and then the dash. So the hyphen is shorter. It's used to glue two words together, right? So if you have a compound word that you want to put together, you use the hyphen. If you have a prefix and then a root or a different word that you want to put together, self-esteem. So you use the hyphen to glue the two words together. You use it to put them together. Then we have the dash. There are two types of the dash. The first one is called N dash, E-N and dash. Then the second one is M dash, E-M and dash. Now let's take our time to break it down. For the N dash, if you compare the N dash to the hyphen, the N dash is longer than the hyphen. The N dash is longer than the hyphen. So this is one of the uses of the N dash. Now, if you want to indicate a range, for example, 20 to 50, you use the N dash to indicate the range. You don't use a hyphen because you're not gluing the two figures or numbers together. You are only indicating a range. So Monday to Friday is a range. You can use the N dash to indicate this range. Okay, now sometimes when you're talking, there is a break or interruption of your thoughts. And so sometimes the sentence even doesn't end in a completed thought. So sometimes you use the M dash to indicate a break in thoughts or an interruption. Right. So for example, the number I was going to give you was, I just lost my train of thought. So in between the number I was going to give you was, and then I've lost my train of thought. You can use the M dash there in between them to indicate there was a break in thought, right? And then you continued. You also use the M dash to indicate that someone has interrupted another person's statement or sentence. So on the floor of parliament, when they are debating, sometimes some other people interrupt what another member is saying. So you can use the M dash to indicate the interruption. So I was going to tell you that, and then another person cuts in. So you can use the M dash to indicate that break. So the M dash is the longest of the three things we've talked about. Then the N dash is longer, and then the hyphen is long. So know the use of these three signs. They are not the same. They cannot be used interchangeably, right? So always pay attention to that. So now we want to move to the seventh sign or punctuation mark, which is called the ellipsis, the three dots. Three dots. So if you omit, it can be intentionally or because you don't have the information. You can omit part of a sentence or something that someone has said. So the ellipsis is used to indicate that omission. And mind you, there are three dots, not more, not less. So the three dots often used at the end of a sentence to indicate that something has been omitted is called ellipsis. Ellipsis. Can you guess the name of this sign? Can you guess? Okay, so it's also called tilde. Tilde. It can be used to indicate an approximate value or a sound, right? So on WhatsApp, if you put the tilde and then a word and another tilde, it actually cancels the word that you wrote. So you can give it a try on WhatsApp to see the use of the tilde. So that sign is called tilde. The next sign that we want to look at is also called ampersand, or some people call it and sign. So it's this sign. It's called ampersand or and. It's used to indicate an or plus or addition. Mind you, it is often used when you are doing computation or mathematics, and so you can use that sign to when you are writing in a tabular form where because there's scarcity of space you can use it to indicate and. But in normal everyday English usage, it is not recommended that you use that sign in place of and, right? When you're doing research work and you're talking about work by two authors, you can use let's say Crunchy and a Japan. So that and there you can use that ampersand, right? If you are doing Excel and doing some computations, you can use that sign as well. So it's called ampersand or and. Next sign that we want to look at, usually there are two forms, the forward slash and backslash. Forward slash and backslash. So the forward is pointing to, depending on how you are looking at it, it's pointing forward, and then the backslash is also pointing backwards, right? So that's the name of the sign, forward slash and backslash. 11th sign that we want to look at is called the copyright sign. So copyright, indicating that the person has this copyright over the property. So for intellectual property, you often see people use that C with a circle around it. It's called copyright. In that same vein, if you see R and then a circle around it, it's also called registered trademark. So it means that the item or the trademark has been registered, or the service mark has been registered by the person. So the C is copyright and then the R is registered trademark. Then we come to trademark itself. So if you have the superscript TM, that also indicates trademark. TM, trademark. So Coca-Cola or any of these vendors which have trademarks, usually you find it on the advertisement or poster or whatever item that they use to advertise these products. So it's called a trademark. So C is copyright, R is registered trademark, and TM is trademark itself. Now we come to this sign. How do you call it? I know you say hash or pound sign. It's also called octotop. Octotop. So hash, pound, or octotop. The next sign is also called asterisk. This sign is called asterisk. So asterisk has several uses. In grammar or in the English language, when you put an asterisk in front of a word, it means that that word may not exist or it's ungrammatical, but you are using it for purpose of explanation. So that's one of the uses of the asterisk. In other spaces, it has several other uses, but in the context of grammar or in the English language, that's one of the uses to indicate that the word that comes after it is either non-existent or ungrammatical, or it's actually used for a certain purpose. On WhatsApp, if you put asterisk and then a word then another asterisk, it actually emboldens the word. So it boldens it out. So that's also one of the uses of the asterisk marks on WhatsApp. The next sign that we want to look at is the combined question mark and exclamation mark. So if you put them together, it has a specific name. It's called interrobang. 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 So sometimes you don't know whether the what you have written is actually a question or you are exclaiming or an exclamation mark. So it comes together. What in God's name is this? So it's a question, all right, but it's also an exclamation, right? So when you put them together, oftentimes you have the question mark and then the exclamation point. So if you join those two signs together, it's called interrobang. It's not often recommended in everyday English writing, but for a literary effects or in other kinds of writings, you can actually use it to indicate that you are exclaiming and then at the same time asking a question. So it comes together. It's called interrobang. Interrobang. The last but one sign that we are looking at is called underscore. So on Twitter, on Instagram, on other social spaces, so the underscore is used as part of the username. So it's that it looks like a hyphen on the ground. So it lies in between two separate letters or two separate figures or numbers. So it's lying on the ground. So it's called underscore. On WhatsApp, if you put one underscore, then a word, then another underscore, it actually italicizes the word. So that's another use of the underscore on WhatsApp. The last sign that we want to look at is the @ sign or the address sign. So it's often used in email addresses or on social media spaces when you want to get someone's attention. You use the @ sign and then the person's name. So it more like references the person. So that sign is called @ sign or address sign. Thank you very much for watching this video. I know you learned one or two punctuation marks and their names, and then you'll be able to use them appropriately. So until we come your way with another lesson, take care. Bye bye.